let me ask you something. What if the ground beneath your feet wasn't actually solid? What if our planet's default setting wasn't calm and stable, but just relentless, unimaginable violence? We're about to dig into an idea that might change the way you see our home forever.
This one sentence, it really just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's asking us to question this assumption we all live with every single day, that our world is a fundamentally safe and predictable place.
And let's be honest, we all buy into this comforting illusion. You know, the sun rises, the seasons change, and we build our entire lives on the idea that the Earth is this reliable, permanent foundation.
So on one side, you have our perception of a steady, predictable home, but then you put it up against the scientific reality, which is a 4.5 billion year story of continents smashing into each other, oceans swallowing land, and just constant violent change.
This brings us to the main event, the core argument here. We tend to think of disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes, as these rare interruptions to an otherwise calm existence. But the truth? It's the complete opposite. For our planet, chaos is the default setting. And these quiet periods of stability we're enjoying, those are the real exceptions.
Just think about the dinosaurs. They dominated this planet for 116 million years. I mean, they were the absolute masters of their world. And then a single rock from space shows up, and in what is basically a geological instant, their entire reign was over, just erased.
And this just highlights how utterly indifferent the whole thing is. The universe didn't have it out for the dinosaurs. There was no grand plan, just cause and effect on a planetary scale. You know, physics is a set of rules. It's not a person with feelings or intention.
And that asteroid wasn't some fluke event. Geologists have identified at least 5 of these massive extinction events in Earth's history. Each one wiped out the majority of all life. And we're not just talking about asteroids. One of them, they call it the Great Dying, was triggered by massive volcanic eruptions that literally choked the atmosphere and turned the oceans to acid.
Which leads to this absolutely staggering number. More than 99% of every species that has ever lived on this planet is now extinct. So what does that tell us? It tells us that extinction isn't the tragic exception to the story of life. It is the story. Survival, that's the exception.
So what are these planet-erasing forces? We're talking about powers so immense and timelines so long, they're almost impossible for our brains to comprehend. Everything from the slow, grinding drift of continents to sudden catastrophic impacts from space. Okay, to really get a sense of our place in all this, imagine Earth's entire 4.5 billion year history squeezed into a single 24-hour day. The planet forms at midnight. Life doesn't even show up until 4 a.m. The dinosaurs, they arrive super late to the party at 10:45 p.m., and they're gone an hour later. And humans, we appear at 2 seconds to midnight.
Just let that sink in for a moment. Everything we've ever recorded, every empire, every piece of art, all our science, all our wars, all of it happens in a fraction of the final second. To the planet, our entire civilization is less than the blink of an eye.
And don't think for a second that these forces are ancient history. They're still active, right now. Plate tectonics are building up pressure for the next big earthquake. Supervolcanoes are lying dormant, capable of changing the climate overnight. Our own sun can blast us with solar storms. And yeah, space is still full of asteroids. This is our ongoing reality.
Okay, I know, this all sounds incredibly grim, right? But the story doesn't end with total destruction. In fact, this is where it gets really awe-inspiring. We need to shift our focus from the planet's instability to the incredible resilience of life itself.
So this leads to the next logical question. If chaos is the default setting, is all life just doomed to be wiped out over and over again?
And the answer is a powerful, resounding no. And this right here reveals the key distinction. We've been looking for stability when we should have been looking for resilience.
So let's break that down. Stability is rigid. It tries to resist change. But we already know the planet is always changing. Resilience, though, that's the opposite. It's about adapting to the change. It's the ability to get knocked down again and again, and for life to somehow find a new way to get back up. That's the real secret.
So, if the planet is chaotic, indifferent, but ultimately resilient, what does that mean for us, the species that showed up 2 seconds before midnight? This is where the story gets really, really personal. And this brings us to the profound, central question of it all.
If we can't count on the planet to keep us safe, if it owes us absolutely no special favors, then our whole perspective has to shift. We have to stop looking down at the Earth for safety and start looking at each other.
The reality is, we can't stop an asteroid. We can't halt plate tectonics. The only real security we can ever build is with each other. Our safety net isn't the ground we're standing on, it's our ability to cooperate, to build smart systems, and to solve problems together.
This whole perspective forces us to confront a really humbling idea. We naturally see ourselves as the center of the story, right? The pinnacle of evolution. But what if we're not? What if we're just temporary players in a story that's far older and way bigger than we can even imagine?
But here's the amazing part. Being temporary doesn't make our existence meaningless. It makes it unbelievably rare. I mean, think about everything that had to happen. Every single extinction, every adaptation, every cosmic collision, for you to be here, right now, thinking about all this. It's a statistical miracle. And that's the final, beautiful paradox of it all. We live on a dangerous, completely indifferent planet. But that constant struggle, the endless adaptation, the sheer unlikeliness of our existence, that is precisely what makes life so precious, so dynamic, and so absolutely extraordinary.